All right, ready to dive in. Today we're looking at the Kin Network.
Okay.
This movement is all about equipping everyday people to, well, to live out their faith.
Right. In their neighborhoods, workplaces, the gym, really everywhere life takes them.
Exactly. I like how Kin emphasizes authentic living.
Yeah, it's not about trying to fit a mold or, be super spiritual all the time.
Yeah, I get that.
It's more about actually integrating faith into, well, into the messiness of everyday life.
I'm intrigued already. We're going off of some internal documents they shared
Yeah.
about their vision, their structure, all that.
Sounds good.
So first things first, what is the Kin Network?
Okay, so their full name is the Kingdom and Neighborhoods Network.
Okay.
And their mission, it's all about equipping leaders to really embrace God's call in everyday life. Basically, they're fostering what they call God's shalom in communities.
Hold on, shalom. That makes me think of peace, but I'm guessing kin has a deeper meaning.
You're right. For kin, shalom, it's
that-
way more than just the absence of conflict,
Right.
It's about this holistic transformation, bringing God's peace and wholeness to literally every part of life.
That's a big goal. I'm picturing like ripples spreading out from each person.
Yeah.
So how do they do that? How do they get that kind of impact?
Well, they've got these 4 pillars of action: reaching, mending, teaching, and sending.
Okay.
Each one focuses on tangible ways to actually live out your faith and make a difference.
Okay, break that down for me. What do those pillars look like in action?
Let's take mending, for example. It's about creating what they call mending spaces.
Okay.
Places where people can actually experience God's healing and wholeness, both spiritually and practically.
So it's not just about praying for people, right? It's
Okay.
also about meeting those practical needs.
Exactly. Their whole idea of mission outposts illustrates this really well.
Okay.
It's about being present in places you might not expect, like a laundromat, a coffee shop, even a park.
Wow.
And offering help and support alongside a message of faith.
So it's not about building a church and expecting people to come to them.
Yeah.
They're going OUT to the community, meeting people where they are.
Exactly.
Now, I've also heard them talk about microchurches. What are those? How do they fit in?
So microchurches are basically small groups. They gather in homes or other community spaces.
Okay.
And they focus on a few things: authentic relationships, worshiping together, learning from scripture, and then going out and serving their community.
It almost sounds like a church startup model. Is that fair?
There are some similarities for sure, but Kinyu really emphasizes organic growth and local leadership. It's not a franchise, it's a network.
Right.
It's about empowering people to lead and disciple others within their own circles of influence.
So it's about equipping people to be leaders in their daily lives,
Yeah,
not just in the church setting.
exactly.
Now, say someone's listening and thinking, this sounds amazing, I want in. How do they connect with kin?
Well, Kinyu operates on what they call a hub and spoke model. They've got physical and online hubs
Okay.
where leaders get training and share resources.
Can you give me a specific example? What does that look like in practice?
Sure. Their main hub, it's a physical space. They have gatherings, training events, even things like, get this, Holistic Thursdays.
Wait, Holistic Thursdays? Okay, now I'm really curious. What happens on Holistic Thursdays?
Think of it like where that mending space idea comes alive. It's about meeting practical needs, maybe a free meal, workshops on financial literacy, maybe even connecting people to healthcare resources, all offered alongside spiritual support,
So they're really taking that whole person approach, addressing not just the spiritual side, but the whole person.
Absolutely.
That's impressive. I'm also seeing on their mind map that they really emphasize mapping the demographics and needs of their communities. Why is that so important to Kim?
Well, Kim really believes in working alongside what God is already doing,
Okay.
It's about understanding the unique needs and resources in a community before just jumping in with solutions.
So it's not about having some prepackaged program.
Right.
It's about being responsive to each neighborhood.
Exactly. They're all about prayerfully listening for God's guidance and discerning the best way to serve in each unique context.
It's about recognizing that every community is different. What works in one place might not work in another.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I'm kind of curious about their leadership. Who's making the decisions? How do they keep everything aligned?
Well, they have this team. It's called the Capacity Discernment Team.
Okay.
And they play a key role in making sure everything they do, all their activities and initiatives, that they line up with their core values and mission.
So it's like a checks and balances thing
Yeah.
to make sure they're staying true to their principles.
Exactly. And they also have an advisory board, too.
Okay.
They provide guidance and support to the leadership team.
Got it. So there's a structure there for accountability and wise decision making.
Yeah.
But I imagine a movement like this has a lot of moving parts. right? So how do they stay organized, keep everything running smoothly?
Well, they've got this mind map document. It outlines all the different teams, each responsible for a different aspect of their ministry. For instance, they have a community outreach center team.
Okay.
They're focused on engaging with the community, promoting economic development, and creating spaces for people to connect.
So it's not just about the spiritual side then. They're also addressing practical needs, working to improve the well-being of the community.
Absolutely. And then you've got the teaching team.
Okay.
They're responsible for equipping leaders and fostering discipleship.
So it's all about empowering others to really live out their faith in every area.
Exactly.
It sounds like they've really thought this through, created a system to support their vision. What's it actually like, though, to be part of a kin microchurch? What can people expect?
Their documents really emphasize creating these safe spaces
Okay.
where people can encounter Jesus and experience a sense of belonging. They stress radical hospitality and celebrating the diversity of God's creation.
So it's not your typical Sunday morning service, then.
Right.
It sounds more like a close-knit community
Yeah.
where people can be themselves, feel supported.
Exactly. And they emphasize that worship isn't confined to a specific time or place.
Okay.
It's about living a life that reflects God's love and teachings, expressing worship through our everyday actions, you know?
That's a powerful concept. It's about integrating faith into everything. Now, they also talk about discovery groups. What are those? How do they fit into the picture?
So discovery groups, they're designed for believers and non-believers alike
Interesting.
to come together and explore the Bible, but in a relaxed setting.
All right.
It's a place to ask questions, share doubts, engage in open dialogue about faith.
So it's a way to introduce people to Christianity, but in a non-threatening way.
Yeah, it's a great outreach strategy.
Makes sense? They also seem to really value discipleship, even for those who are already followers of Jesus.
Oh, absolutely. They have a strong emphasis on mentoring, walking alongside others in their faith journey, and equipping people to disciple others.
So it's a cyclical process. Learn, grow, and then pass it on.
Exactly. It's about empowering people to become disciple makers, multiplying their impact and spreading the message of Jesus throughout their communities.
Now, those mission outposts we touched on earlier, can you tell me more about how they actually work? What kinds of activities are involved?
Mission outposts are all about taking faith outside the church walls and meeting people where they are. It could be anything, really. Volunteering at a soup kitchen, organizing a neighborhood cleanup, even just offering a listening ear to someone who's struggling.
So it's about being present, showing compassion, demonstrating God's love in tangible ways.
Precisely. Being the hands and feet of Jesus, meeting those practical needs while also sharing the hope and truth of the gospel.
Now, I'm noticing a section on their mind map about families.
Yeah.
What role does family play in the kin network?
Well, they recognize families are the foundation of society, and they place a high value on supporting and strengthening them.
Okay.
They offer resources and programs focused on marriage, parenting, raising children in a way that honors God.
That's so important, especially today with all the challenges families face.
Absolutely. They also have a dedicated focus on youth and young adults, too.
Okay.
They understand that age group has unique needs and faces particular pressures.
So they're investing in the next generation, helping them navigate life's challenges and grow in their faith.
Exactly. They provide mentorship, discipleship programs, safe spaces for young people to connect and explore their faith.
It sounds like they're really committed to equipping people of all ages to live out their faith in a way that's meaningful and impactful.
They are. And they also recognize that leadership development is crucial to their mission.
Okay.
They have something called a leadership academy.
Interesting.
It provides training and resources for those who want to serve in leadership roles within the network.
So it's not just about finding people who are already leaders. It's about developing new W leaders and equipping them to serve.
Exactly. They believe everyone has the potential to lead, and they provide the tools and support to help people step into those God-given abilities.
What about their vision for the future? Where do they see Kin Network going? What's their ultimate goal?
Their vision statement is pretty ambitious: to see communities transformed into the family of God.
Wow, that's a big vision. It sounds like they're aiming for a widespread discipleship movement, one that impacts every aspect of society.
They are. They believe by equipping everyday people to live out their faith authentically and intentionally, they can create a ripple effect that spreads throughout the world.
So it's not about building a mega church or some centralized organization. It's about empowering individuals to be change agents in their own communities.
Precisely. It's about a decentralized movement starting at the grassroots and spreading outward, transforming lives and communities one person at a time.
That's really compelling. It's about empowering people to live out their faith
Yeah.
in a way that's both personal and impactful, making a difference through relationships, acts of service, conversations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I'm wondering, how do they celebrate their successes? Do they recognize the contributions of their members? Any systems in place for that?
They do. Their mind map mentions ministry partnerships and celebration, which suggests they really value collaboration and make it a point to celebrate achievements together.
Okay.
They also emphasize encouraging and motivating their members to keep pursuing their mission.
So it's about creating a culture of support and appreciation, recognizing the hard work and dedication of everyone involved.
Absolutely. They understand that people thrive when they feel valued,
Right.
and they create a culture that fosters both individual and collective success.
Now, I'm intrigued by this Kingdom Cooperative. Can you tell me more about that? How does it fit in?
Well, the Kingdom Cooperative seems to be focused on economic empowerment and community development.
Okay.
It suggests they might be exploring ways to create sustainable businesses or initiatives that benefit both their members and the wider community.
So again, it's not just about spiritual growth. It's about addressing practical needs, creating opportunities for people to thrive economically.
Exactly. They seem to be embracing that holistic approach to ministry, recognizing that true transformation involves every aspect of life.
Right.
They want to see people thriving spiritually, emotionally, relationally, even financially.
That's a really comprehensive vision, creating a community that supports the whole person
Yeah.
and empowers them to live a life of purpose and abundance.
Yes.
Now, how do they evaluate their effectiveness? How do they measure success? Any metrics or systems for tracking impact?
Their documents don't go into a ton of detail about specific metrics or methods,
Okay.
but their emphasis on mapping suggests a data-driven approach.
Right.
They likely track key indicators like the number of people reached, the number of new disciples made, the impact of their community initiatives.
So they're not just relying on anecdotal evidence or impression.
No, they're gathering data, using it to assess their progress.
Yeah.
And make informed decisions.
That's a responsible approach.
Yeah.
Shows they're serious about their mission
Yeah.
and committed to making a real impact.
Yeah. Now, what about justice issues? Do they see that as part of their mission? Their emphasis on shalom suggests a holistic understanding of the gospel,
Okay.
one that recognizes the interconnectedness of spiritual and social well-being.
Right.
So they likely see addressing justice as integral to their mission, demonstrating God's love and compassion in tangible ways.
So it's not about choosing between spiritual and social concerns. It's recognizing their inseparable aspects of living out your faith.
Precisely. They believe true discipleship involves both personal transformation and societal change. And they strive to live out their faith in a way that addresses both the spiritual and physical needs of those around them.
That's powerful. It's about recognizing our faith has implications for everything, including how we engage with the world and advocate for justice.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm curious about how they approach poverty.
Yeah.
Is it a primary focus?
Interestingly, their mind map actually mentions remember the poor, suggesting a commitment to caring for those in need.
Okay.
They might partner with organizations, launch their own initiatives, or just encourage individuals to be generous and compassionate.
So they see caring as a fundamental part of their calling,
Yeah.
reflecting God's heart for the marginalized and vulnerable.
Exactly. It's about putting faith into action, meeting those practical needs.
We've talked a lot about their structure and vision, but what about the people involved?
Their documents emphasize ordinary disciples making disciples,
Okay.
which suggests they're attracting people who are passionate about living out their faith, but maybe don't fit that traditional church leader mold.
So not just for pastors or theologians, it's for everyday people who want to make a difference.
Precisely. They're attracting individuals who are drawn to holistic transformation, to community, to service. They want to integrate their faith into everything and have a tangible impact.
It sounds like they're creating a space for people to live out their faith authentically and find a sense of belonging and purpose.
Absolutely. Fostering a culture where everyone's welcome and everyone has something to contribute.
Before we wrap up, I want to get a feel for the overall vibe of Kin. What's it like to be part of this community?
Their documents emphasize joy, celebration, and creating safe spaces.
Excellent.
So I imagine it's warm, authentic, a deep sense of belonging.
Not stuffy or judgmental. A place to be yourself and experience the joy of Christian community.
Exactly. And remember, their approach is all about flexibility and adaptability. Not one size fits all.
Right.
It's about empowering individuals and communities to express their faith in ways that are unique to their context.
So to wrap it all up, the Kin Network is about empowering everyday disciples to make a difference.
Yeah.
It's about living out your faith, serving others, building those genuine relationships. It's recognizing that we're all called to be disciples.
Right.
And discipleship is not just about what you believe, it's about how you live.
If you're looking for a way to live out your faith in a way that's both meaningful and indeed impactful, exploring Kin's approach, it might be worth your time. It's about recognizing we can't do God's work alone, right?
Right.
We need each other, we need community, we need to support and encourage one another as we try to make a difference.
Well said. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the Kin Network. Hopefully you've gained some valuable insights and maybe even a little inspiration to think about how you can live out your faith
Yeah.
in a more intentional, impactful way. Thanks for listening.